Surprised, aren't you? I knew you would be.
It's Christmas time!
Ho, ho, ho!
Merry Christmas!
I'm Jack, the Pumpkin King.
It's not Halloween without bringing The Nightmare Before Christmas into the mix. It's part Halloween movie, part Christmas movie, and completely batshit crazy. It's funny, it's scary, it's sad, it's whimsical, it's grotesque, it's earnest, it's musical, and it's simply wonderful. Did I mention that it's insane? This movie is now 31 years old, and looking at it, it's just timeless. The grotesque yet whimsical and intricate design of the world and characters are absolutely marvelous. You can see the influences of this movie in pretty much every subsequent movie Tim Burton has made after this. The stop-motion animation, combined with some 2D effects overlaid here and there, helps elevate the look of the movie outside of time. It's quite incredible just how well it all comes together. It might also be quite a shock to hear that Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas was not actually made by Tim Burton. The movie is based on Tim's short story, but was directed by Henry Selick. You might remember that name from stop-motion classics like James and the Giant Peach, Coraline, and Wendell and Wild. You can see the movie's influence in each of these as well. This movie seems to have been quite the foundation from where both Henry Selick and Tim Burton's careers were built. One of the standouts in a movie filled with standouts was the music. Danny Elfman was an inspired choice for the composer and producer of the music for this movie. He was so invested that he did the singing voice for Jack. He was all in, and it shows. The songs are amazing. They are as much a storytelling device in this movie as anything else. Here are some examples.
What's this? What's this? There's something very wrong. What's this? There's people singing songs. What's this?
It is such a unique experience to watch this movie. I almost envy anyone who will be watching this for the first time. What's also wonderful about this movie is that none of our protagonists are actually protagonists. They're not the sort of people you'd usually root for, and to be honest, you shouldn't be rooting for them for large parts of the movie. Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King. He casually steals Christmas, abducts Santa, impersonates him, and terrifies a whole generation of kids. Sally tries to escape from Dr. Finkelstein and tries to murder him over and over again. Dr. Finkelstein basically keeps Sally as his prisoner and property. The mayor is a spineless bureaucratic two-face. Oh, I see what you did there.
She's hilarious.
And Oogie Boogie wants to consume Santa and Sally. Does that sound like a bunch of likable protagonists leading a movie? Not even close. Yet, somehow you will like and root for them by the end of the movie. Some of them at least. Subscribe, subscribe, there's reviews everywhere. Subscribe, I try to keep it fair. Subscribe, you can't believe your eyes. You'll go on many sidekick journeys if you dare. Subscribe. At second glance, there's more to each of these disgusting scoundrels. Jack Skellington is scary and nasty and frightening to the people he's scaring, but to the townspeople of Halloween Town, he's a hero. He's the guy they look up to, most females thirst for, and others strive to be. He's larger than life and very confident. But when by himself, he realizes he's bored and lost. He's done it all, seen it all. He's basically in the middle of a midlife crisis and hiding it from everyone. After stumbling onto Christmas and the ideas behind it, he experiences an existential crisis, trying to figure out what it all means and how it works. In his own twisted way, he thinks he's figured it out, only to fail miserably. The mayor is manipulative and conniving. He has no problem stabbing you in the back or cheating you if needed, but he's also kinda clueless, spineless, and lazy when pushed.
I'm only an elected official here. I can't make decisions by myself.
Dr. Finkelstein is basically a play on Dr. Frankenstein. His intentions are much more nefarious than the OG Frankenstein, as he made Sally just for himself. He doesn't care what she wants or needs. She's his property and she'll do what he pleases. Until she doesn't anymore and he moves on to his next project. Sally is the saddest character in the movie. She might also be the closest thing we get to an actual protagonist. She gives an arm and a leg in this movie.
I'll throw myself out.
She just wants to live her own life and get away from Dr. Finkelstein, but is also willing to try and kill the doctor on multiple occasions. Through the story, she also struggles to tell Jack how she feels about him. She's resigned to the fact that she'll never be the one. There's also Oogie Boogie, the literal boogeyman. He's what the movie tries to make us think is the true antagonist. But to be honest, the corpse kids bring Santa to him. He just wants some soul supper. The shit that Jack pulled in this movie is way worse. The story itself is pretty simple, and at only 74 minutes moves along pretty briskly. Join me, your sidekick, as we descend into the chaotic and grotesquely beautiful madness that is Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. We start off in Halloween Town. Jack Skellington led another successful Halloween and everyone's celebrating. He's more popular than the actual devil. He wanders off while everyone is celebrating and gets lost in his thoughts. He's kinda miserable doing the same thing year after year after year. While aimlessly walking through the night, completely engrossed in his own thoughts, he snaps out of it, having discovered a new place he'd never seen before. It's a portal to all the different holidays, and by all the different ones, I mean a few select Western ones. He's intrigued by the Christmas tree and opens the door. He gets sucked in and lands in Christmas Town. He's mesmerized by the place and everything about it. It's so different to anything he's ever seen or experienced. This is it. This is how he gets out of his rut. Midlife crisis, be gone! At first, the townspeople back home thinks he's lost, but he appears with goodies from his visit and calls a town hall meeting to try and explain Christmas to them. He's dead set on making them understand.
Thank you very much.
The only problem is that he also doesn't really have any sort of idea what it actually is.
There were objects so peculiar they were not to be believed. But you must believe when I tell you this. Let me show you. This is a thing called a present. We pick up an oversized sock. Or sometimes it's filled with small toys.
Small toys?
Splendid idea. This Christmas sounds fun. I fully endorse it. Let's try it at once.
He's not preparing for the next Halloween anymore. The idea behind Christmas fascinates him and he tries to understand it all on his own. Sally takes a leap of faith and breaks her limits. While Jack tries to figure out what Christmas is all about, Sally gives him a gift basket filled with presents. A gift of kindness, you could say. She basically answered his question about the meaning of Christmas right there, but being so self-consumed, he completely misses it. Sally then has a random vision that Christmas is going to go up in flames. Jack decides that they are going to prepare for Christmas now and take it over from the Christmas Town people.
Christmas time is buzzing in my skull.
What does it mean? What does it mean? My skull's so full it's tearing me apart.
They're going to do that by kidnapping Santa, and he'll take over all Santa's duties. And while he's at it, he's going to make some improvements.
The answer's right in front of me. I bet I could improve it too, and that's exactly what I'll do. Christmas will be ours!
He gets the corpse kids to go and abduct Santa. We spend some time with the whole town prepping for Christmas, making presents, resurrecting reindeer skeletons, creating costumes, and whatever else might need to be done. Sally tries to convince Jack that it's not a good idea to take over Christmas, but he doesn't listen to her. He's the Pumpkin King after all. It's all about him. The corpse kids bring Santa to Jack. He takes Santa's hat and tells the kids to keep Santa safe. In their own demented way, they think that means taking Santa to Oogie Boogie for safekeeping. Sally doesn't think any of this is a good idea. She decides to try and stop Jack from delivering the presents by sabotaging the flight with fog.
That's a great idea.
She's not the brightest. Her plan fails because Zero's nose is as bright as Rudolph's and Jack is on his way. Sally is super sad and sings a sad song to remind us that she's very sad and that she'll never be the one. She's really sad.
Sorry, I went sad again, didn't I?
Jack starts to deliver presents to the kids, but because of how much he and the townspeople didn't understand what Christmas is about, it's pandemonium. The toys are terrorizing the kids and Jack is making an absolute mess of it. He thinks he's killing it though. Maybe a little too literally. Meanwhile, Sally realizes that Oogie has Santa and tries to rescue him. This plan of hers also fails and Oogie now decides to consume both her and Santa. Back in the human world, Jack is such a menace that the human military is brought in to try and shoot him out of the sky. They succeed and Jack crashes into a cemetery. Being not alive means he survives the crash. He finally realizes that he messed up big time and that this whole bringing cheer to the kids thing isn't for him. First though, a bit of a pity party before getting to work fixing things.
How could I be so blind? What have I done?
Time to set things right, by just accepting he is who he is.
That's right. I am the Pumpkin King.
He's also being way too much of a villain to be the hero. The scales needs to be tipped the other way. And how do they do that? He goes back to Halloween Town and confronts Oogie. Jack is victorious and Oogie is defeated. Did the baddest guy just defeat the bad guy? Did evil just prevail? Did the scales just tip the wrong way? Anywho, he asks Santa if there's still time to fix Christmas, and luckily there still is.
To fix Christmas? Of course there is. I'm Santa Claus.
Jack has saved Christmas! After ruining it himself. Good job.
Good job.
Santa goes on to save Christmas and even takes a detour to wish the people of Halloween Town a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween! Merry Christmas!
Jack, after finally having figured himself out, is now in love with Sally, or something. He finds Sally and they all live terribly ever after. I'll leave you with this. With Jack being a skeleton and Sally a corpse, there might be actual boning involved. You're welcome.
Sorry, I did it again. My bad.
The end. That was a batshit crazy movie. It showed that one person's ideas can wreck a whole town and how the herd mentality can be so detrimental if the ideas being followed weren't well thought out. It would also have helped if that two-faced politician had a backbone. But I digress. It showed that even the best of intentions can and usually do ruin what was set out to do if with those intentions there wasn't a fundamental understanding of what you were trying to achieve. That leads to a soulless knockoff of the original and ends up worse in every single way. This sounds a lot like Hollywood in 2024, wouldn't you say? It touched on acceptance of oneself and one's capabilities and how that can lead to happiness that you were blind to before. It also showed that you need to eventually own up to your own mistakes. It's weird and not all of it makes sense or follows any sort of established logic, but we still go with it because it's a deranged yet fun ride. Did I mention that it's insane? This is a movie that broke so many storytelling rules, and with no good characters to really root for, and events that go from bad to worse and back to bad. It had creepy and disgusting yet fun and playful designs and worlds. Somehow it all came together though, and all these very imperfect characters stole our hearts back then and have been stealing the hearts of multiple generations now. I hope you have a horrible time watching this Halloween/Christmas classic with loved ones. Anywho, that's me signing off.